Motorcyclists make up only 1% of the motoring community, yet 25% of those killed or seriously injured on our roads. And they are one of our most vulnerable road users. So today we're going to show you what we're doing to reduce those casualties by using innovative tools such as this. Now we've got a fantastic opportunity to talk to somebody who was involved in a really serious collision just a couple of days before their daughter's first birthday, riding the most insane of bikes. So Luke, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Luke. I was riding a ZZR 1400 Turbo, and the day before my daughter's first birthday, I almost died.
Motorcyclists make up 1% of the motoring community, yet 25% of those killed or seriously injured on the UK roads. Now today we're going to show you what we're doing to reduce those casualties and how we deal with the vulnerable road users that motorcyclists are. We're going to introduce you to Harves, who is one of our motorcycle instructors, and he instructs on the VIP escort group. So he's got 20 years of motorcycling experience. He's the man that we need to be listening to, and he's going to show you what's in this van behind us. 16 to 24-year-olds make up the biggest chunk of motorcyclists that are killed or seriously injured on the roads. So this is a new innovative approach to show them hazard awareness and things like that. And it's all funded by National Highways, Vision Zero and the Department for Transport, and it's part of a national project, Apex. Let's go and talk to Harves, who's inside the van, and he's going to tell us all about the project.
So Project Apex was National Highways' look at how we can reduce motorcycle casualties nationally. And as you've already said, 1% of the motoring community, and they make up nearly a quarter of our killed and seriously injured statistics, unfortunately. The simulator was part of that project, so I submitted this as an idea to them as a new and innovative way at approaching training and hazard awareness for young motorcyclists. 16 to 24-year-olds are our highest category of motorcyclists that are injured at the moment, and locally in Devon and Cornwall, ours went up by 47% over the last 12 months. So this was a way of engaging with that age group, the young and inexperienced motorcyclists, and looking at how we can educate them around hazard awareness training and hazard awareness perceptions, and without any risk to them whatsoever.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first one in the country.
It is, yeah.
And it's all funded by National Highways, Department for Transport and Vision Zero as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no police funding that's gone into this.
No.
Right, so you've learned all about what we've just been telling you, so now we're going to get George to demonstrate how not to ride a bike. George, you're on. Get on the bike.
It's been cool to take an experienced drivers on racetrack.
We are recording, George.
You go clutch in.
Okay, so I've never had any theory or any driving lessons on a bike, full stop.
Okay.
Oh, don't want to be going speeding. So is this like Grand Theft Auto? Can I run people over?
You will be able to run people over.
But I shouldn't.
Yeah, but you shouldn't.
No, neither should anyone in real life, of course.
Absolutely.
But I think this is also quite valuable to mention that people do play a lot of games, and it's easy to disconnect from the reality of...
One of the things that we say is that to our young audience riders is that playing computer games and even something like this, you can press the reset button, you can go back and start again. In real life on a motorcycle, you're never going to get that chance again to do it the second time. So
Of course.
it's about learning the right way, the safe way and the responsible way from the beginning, and that's why this is very much aimed at young riders. How do you find it?
It's really cool. I wasn't actually expecting it to be this... I don't want to say real, but realistic would be probably a better word to use.
Yeah. If you look at the way pilots train for reality, they train in simulators. It's the one way that you can get them to experience bad things and
yeah, of course.
Some high risk elements where there's no risk to them or their passengers. So this is exactly the same theory. You're trying to do things with both hands, both feet, whilst also trying to register what's happening ahead of you.
Oh God, oh sorry.
So Harves can control everything that's going on the simulator, so at the moment he's looking at it and he's going to chuck in a whole load of hazards that George won't be expecting. We can change the weather, and we can, now he's put it into night time as well. So George is going to experience a few things now that he probably wasn't expecting.
Oh Jesus, oh God. This is a lot harder. Don't in any way watch this and think this is an easy sim to use. That guy in the car's on his phone. See, it's raining now. Oh, Jesus.
Did you check your mirrors, George?
No. See,
Are you watching?
my brain's not accustomed to do all that because I'm not a motorbike guy.
So as it starts to rain, George rides faster.
I want to come off the bike and see what happens. Okay, right.
Yeah, see what you're doing now. There you go.
That was on purpose. Now, the reason being is I can reset this, if you haven't noticed, and Harvey can press a button. But in real life, that can't happen. So, yeah, it's almost like I'm pretending that I didn't get impatient and crashed it on purpose. But it's an awesome piece of kit, guys. What an opportunity. And to think that young people that are actually learning and taking this seriously can use this in real life and gain some valuable practice off the road and in a safe environment, I would say is pretty darn cool.
So Luke, tell us what happened.
So I was going around a right-hand bend, right next to the quarry. There was a little bit of gravel in the road, and as soon as you hit gravel on a motorbike, it's like hitting ice. So I low-sided and hit the barrier at pretty much the speed I was doing the corner, so about 60 mile an hour.
That probably didn't end very well, did it, for either you or the bike?
No. So I broke my back in 5 places. I had my lung collapse 3 times. I snapped my radius. I snapped my humerus. My liver was a grade 4 laceration. My liver was a grade 3. I had an umbilical hernia. My ulnar nerve is still trapped now. Pretty bad injury, yeah.
Now outside we talked about some of the causation factors and about how other motorists are or are not to blame for the collision. Now Harves was talking about, what did you call it?
Saccadi's viewing.
There we go. Explain.
So when a driver, motorist, pulls up to a junction, very often they will look right, look left, as the old adverts used to say, and the bit where you scan between the left and the right, your brain actually doesn't register that. So if you're, as a motorcyclist, are in that the bit between the scanning left and right, that's where you disappear. So they may not see you. So give car drivers, bus drivers, truck drivers a chance to actually see you. On the approach to a junction, if there's a vehicle waiting there, look at its front offside wheel. If that starts to move, the vehicle's moving. I often hear motorcyclists say, I look at the driver's eyes. Look at the front offside wheel. If that wheel then starts to move, it means the vehicle's started. Similarly, if the vehicle has started to move, that's where you've got to anticipate their movements, slow down, be prepared to stop if you have to. On the approach to the junction, if you see a vehicle pull up or waiting at that junction, move your motorcycle on approach. So move away from it, move away from the danger, and also what that does, it breaks the car driver's eye line, because you may very well as a motorcyclist disappear in the background. What I mean by that is if there's something large behind you, your brain or your eyes will focus on that large object. So if a truck or a bus is behind you, you may very well get lost to the view of the driver. So move your motorcycle, it just breaks the car driver's eye line. Wear something bright, okay? Very often I see motorcyclists wearing black. If you wear black, you will blend into a background.
Yeah, so I used to ride my road bike, and I see people out in green and brown and things like that, and they blend just totally in with the hedge. And so, yeah, wearing those bright colours might just be something that makes that other road user see you.
Yeah.
And positioning, like you said, positioning of your bike through that junction and the speed that you're going through it is just giving the other road user every opportunity to see you and therefore keep you safer on the road. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about fault. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whose fault it is. As a motorcyclist, you're probably going to come off worse, and you're the one that's going to end up with the injury.
Absolutely. And then, you know, moving on from that, you've got all the costs involved in that, and you know, if you do survive, you've got care in later life, you know, people that have to look after you, the cost on the NHS, and it just sets this whole ball rolling, doesn't it? How's that affected you and your life since then?
I've not been able to do my job properly, so I've been downgraded in the Marines, and I'm likely to get discharged later this year because my shoulder's too unreliable. I get a lot of shoulder pain day to day.
So it's had a massive impact on you personally, in the recovery time, dealing with the injuries, but then also later on with regards to your work and your career and everything just from that one incident?
Yeah, pretty much.
Which wasn't necessarily your fault, but is part of what we see on the roads. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything that you could have done differently on that night? Do you think there's any part of your riding that if you'd have done something differently, you could have avoided it?
Yeah, so that's like, that route is quite a popular route for me and my friends. So I was the first of a few bikers behind me, and just give the route a recce before you ride enthusiastically down the corners.
So you say you were with others on that night. How did that affect them?
Yeah, it affected them as well, to be fair. One of them sold their bike like straight away, and then the other two stopped riding for quite a while. They thought they were watching me die at the side of the road.
Yeah, it must have been massively impactful on them. And do you think that's affected their riding since?
I'd like to think so, yeah. I think the lads have definitely, it was a shock seeing that. I think they've taken something away from it.
Do you still ride?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you still enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I want to introduce you to Charlie. Now, Charlie is the videographer that we have, and he's normally behind the camera. But having seen what we're doing today, Charlie really wants to put something forward in front of the camera, and I think the message that he is going to add is really, really important.
Yeah, so when I got here this morning, I was shown what we're doing here and what this amazing bit of kit is all about. And basically for me, when I was about 18, my godfather actually got killed on his motorbike by another road user who unfortunately didn't see him coming, came out and T-boned him. And this, I think, once I saw what this was, I think it's going to be a great bit of kit to just introduce better road safety to people, both bikers, for being more aware of potential risks and hazards, as well as maybe if you're a driver, maybe put yourself on the biker's shoes and see what it's all about. So you get a bit more awareness from all the sides.
So what you mentioned about the collision was that the driver of the vehicle was on their mobile phone?
Yes, yeah, it was a younger driver, a 19-year-old kid, and basically Mike was on his way to work, going down the main road, and this kid was checking his phone as he pulled out the side road, just straight in front of him, and off he came and off he went, basically. So
if we look at it from the driver's perspective, we do a lot of videos around the use of the mobile phone, and then you scroll through the comments and you see all the comments about people saying, well, I'm going to use my mobile phone anyway, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And this is just an example of somebody that has left home that morning, two people left home that morning, one on their motorbike who never made it home because the other one decided to use their mobile phone, and they thought it's never going to happen to me, but it did. And it happened to your godfather. And this is the human side of what we try and get across in our road safety message. Nobody leaves home and thinks it's going to happen to them, but it happened that day to our driver, who probably went to prison. I don't know.
It was in Australia, so
It was in Australia, right? Okay, so we don't know what happened to him, but in this country, you would probably be looking at a prison sentence for that. So that young life is ruined because he's gone to prison. He's got to live with the fact that his decision making that day has A, put him in prison and ruined his life, and B, taken the life of your godfather. And that's never going to leave him. He's got to live with that for the rest of his life. So thank you for telling us that story, Charlie. You know, it really does bring home the emotion and the human side of what we're trying to do here with both our road safety messages and using stuff like this to make people more aware. How has it affected the people around you?
It affected my mum a lot. She still checks up on me a lot more than she normally would. I think it's affected my mum the most, to be fair. Obviously my little one was too small to realise what was going on at the time, because it happens the day before her first birthday, so I was in intensive care instead of going to her first birthday.
So when you think back to it now and you think, you know, what could have happened is that you may not be here now.
Yeah, my little girl almost lost her dad, I think.
Yeah.
It's fair to say.
Yeah, and does that play on your mind?
Yeah, a lot.
And has that affected how you ride now?
It's definitely made me think twice before going into a corner.
Because what we hear an awful lot of is, it's my choice, if I die, I die.
It's quite an immature thing to say, I think, isn't it?
It is when you look at it and think, okay, well, if you die, yeah, you do die, but people have to go and deal with that. So in your case, had you have died, the friends that you were with would have been there to witness that.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is going to have a massive impact on them. The emergency services coming out, they would have been dealing with that. They would have been doing the knocks on the door, so it has a massive impact on them. But the family as well lose a loved one. So they're never going to forget that, and they're certainly never going to forget the knock on the door. But what if you don't die and you end up with injuries where somebody has to look after you for the rest of their life? You know, the family have to look after that person forever. The cost to everybody, you know, emotionally and financially, is huge, isn't it? I mean, you were fortunate, would you say?
Yeah, I was very lucky. Well, the doctors were like, look, you should be alive. You shouldn't be alive. You should be either paralysed or dead. But luckily, because I'm fit and healthy, yeah.
How'd you break
in the
that
rain at
one?
night. So that's it. Yeah, that's a break.
Both of them, or just one of them?
Both of them.
I'm in moped twist and go mode because I'd be useless at anything else. So it just demonstrates that this thing can be used for those you know, mopeds and those that are not riding geared bikes, and people that are just in training for it really, and wanting to get out on the road for their first bike, and it's a safe environment to do that. I haven't checked my mirrors once, and you know, it just shows that your concentration needs to be on everything, and you can learn on this machine rather than going out on the road, and it's a safe place to do it. So we hear the saying, don't we, dress for the slide, not for the ride.
Yeah.
In your case, I'm guessing, as you've got no major gravel rash that I can see, you were dressed appropriately.
Yeah, I had Kevlar jeans on, boots, Dainese jacket, which I just got before the crash as well.
Can you imagine what you would look like if you hadn't have been wearing that kit?
Oh, fucking hell, yeah.
Absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, yeah.
Degloved, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wearing that kit has, without a doubt, saved your life, hasn't it?
Yeah. I did actually, it did burn through the Kevlar jeans. I don't know how, but I've got a gravel rash there, even though I had Kevlar jeans on. But I never saw them after the crash, but because it all got cut off me. But somehow I've got gravel rash there, even with Kevlar jeans on. So.
And Kevlar's pretty tough stuff, isn't it? Certainly a lot tougher than skin.
Yeah, yeah.
So without the Kevlar, you'd be missing literally everything, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think that kind of speaks for itself, is when you're going out for a ride, you know, just dress for the unexpected, dress for the slide, not for the ride. It's all very well going and riding in flip-flops and jeans, but had you been in flip-flops and jeans on that day, you wouldn't be sitting here talking to me now.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So you guys are probably wondering how you can actually have a go on this yourself. So Owen, how would they do that?
So the simulator is going to be loads of local events. Obviously it's based down here in the southwest, but it will be at some of the big national events as well. But it's going to go to schools and colleges where it can interact with our young riders. But if you want to know where it's going to be, there's a QR code that we'll put up on the screen. And also the Vision Zero Southwest website there has the calendar for the simulator, so you can see where it's likely to be.
Honestly guys, I'm so blessed to have had a go on this. I'm not a motorbiker myself. My dad is. Obviously Charlie's told you his story earlier, but of course this is an amazing opportunity and I can't wait to see what happens with it in the future.